The Spanish Announce Table.
It is episode 386 of the Spanish Announce Table. Tom and I here, went to AEW Dynamite last night in Kansas City. And we had a blast. We're going to talk about that here as we go throughout. We'll talk about some major WWE news and a few things in there, And we're going to have a blast here. We are Pro Wrestling's best podcast. We are coming up on our near 9-year anniversary, as we discussed last night, Tom. So look forward to some fun stuff coming from the Spanish Announce Table. And we invite you to play along, right? We're going to talk about some hashtag Tweet the Tables, which is something you can do on Twitter to get involved with the show and get your thoughts heard to, at least 4 or 5 loyal listeners. And so,
yeah,
there's that for you. So how are you, Tom?
Tim, I'm great. Tim, I tell you what, it was great to go to AEW Dynamite. We were able to purchase our seats. They gave us all of them, even though all we needed was the edge of them, because it was an amazing show. It kicked off with the Battle Royal. Actually, it kicked off with Dark and Elevation, which had local talent. And that's always fun because some of the local talent was getting a chance over the AEW talent.
Yes.
So that was fun.
It also had our number one fan, Cutie Marshall.
Cutie.
Right? That was Dark Elevation,
Twitter,
correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you check out our Twitter page, he responded because he obviously is a big fan. We were able to connect, so it was great.
But
hey,
we forgot to book him for an interview again. We suck. We're bad friends. We are bad friends, but we're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. And I tell you, we're busy. He's busy. Our people will talk to his people. We'll get it done eventually. But so Dark and Elevation were very fun and enjoyable. Spoiler alert, so was Rampage, what will air on Friday night. If you're listening live or on YouTube right now, this is Thursday.
YouTube or Twitch, as we're doing right now for the first time ever. We're live on Twitch and YouTube right now. Twitter, nobody was watching.
It happens.
Too
many people are watching. Don't undersell yourself.
Brought it down. That's right. That's what I meant to say. I read my notes wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
Right.
Even Babe Ruth struck out.
Yeah.
Hey, so the episode started off. Let's just get right into it. You ready to get right into it? So the episode started off with a battle royal. Now, Tim, it started off with the battle royal because there was some CM Punk news. Tim, I think you have a tweet the table.
We do have a tweet the table, but I mean, everybody knows what the big news is, right? Like CM Punk injured, broke something in his foot, right? Many things were broken. The most important being his heart, right? As he said, which is a little cheesy, right? He gave a speech. Let's talk about that before we get into the tweet, because the tweet's more of a follow-up.
Right, because Punk has been doing a lot of these greeting card one-liners in all of his promos in his AEW run. The get back's gonna be better than the setback. Give him his flowers. There's a thing that's broken in my foot, but the biggest thing is my broken. Shut up. When did you become Hallmark with these whack-ass fucking greeting card promos, man? You're too cool to be talking like an idiot, and he's talking like an idiot. Again, it was heartfelt. He was in tears, because of what was happening. I imagine they had some big plans for his summer of Punk, and I understand that. But someone needs to be like, hey, what are you going to say out there? And when he says the get back's better than the setback, we can just go like, know what? Let's come up with something else.
You know what he's doing? He's running these by Jim Ross.
He has to be.
He's running these by Jim Ross. He's like, what do you think about that? He's like, pal, I think that's the greatest thing I ever heard. Really do. Really do.
It has to be something like
Reminds
that.
Reminds me of when Bill Watts talked. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, Ole Anderson cut that same promo in 1983. Ain't no one going to know about it.
Work then, work now. I don't see why I would,
Yeah, and he's like, hey, you know what? Well, and then he's like, you know what? If I'm just going to rip off Ole Anderson promos, I might as well rip off Bret Hart matches. So, hey, I don't have to do anything original, which isn't that fun. Side note before we get into this, because now I just went on a tangent. Isn't that so fun? Imagine I wrote you a screenplay, Tim, and it was essentially The Godfather. Mm-hmm. I just wrote you. I was like, hey, man, I have a new screenplay. And I wrote you a screenplay, and it was The Godfather.
You just changed the names.
except for they were Irish instead of Italian, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, hey man, I'm pretty sure this is the plot of The Godfather. And my retort would be, yeah, I watch a lot of Godfather.
Yeah, it's the best. One of the top 5 of all time.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean new content.
Yeah.
It's the silliest thing.
Yeah.
I understand callbacks, right? And certain moments
in a match, right?
But like when your first sequence is the Bret Hart thing, or your finishing sequence is a Bret Hart thing, man, what? No, I'm not paying for that. Come on. I mean, seriously, consider the screenplay. Consider that. If someone presented you, hey, I want you to invest money into this new screenplay that I wrote, and you realize it's the plot of another famous movie, you gonna invest in it? You're probably not. Anyhow, let's backtrack.
Well,
CM Punk broke his foot.
Yeah, so my take on this is kind of, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to the CM Punk, the summer of Punk 2022. I thought, sure, we're going to get some fine things going on here, and we'll get a match or two, but I was worried about all these Bret Hart remakes and hearing the whole, I'm doing this for everybody, this is for all of us, for ad nauseum for several months, right? Kind of what you were complaining about there. But I also was like, man, I don't know if this is going to go as well as AEW thinks it's going to go. And I was a little worried. And now I'm not happy CM Punk is injured, of course, right? No. We're going to talk about this in the tweet table. That sucks. Yeah. And the guy is working hard and he is a wrestling fan. And so I know I truly can't know, but I understand the suck is immense, right? A lot of suck in that. And so he's dealing with that and cool. But what I thought really was weird is what we do until Punk returns. And we're going to talk about that after we read this tweet the table, right?
All right.
Because we'll dig into that. But this is from @Katie First Lady, who came to this show early on. Maybe not 9 years ago, but 8, 7.5, right? Early on. And was CM Punk fan something, right? 09 or something like that, if I remember correctly. And avid CM Punk fan. And so here she says, total bummer about CM Punk's injury. Being healthy and 100% is more important. Get well soon, which she followed up with, he's been going nonstop since he started. And he hasn't been home and filming 2 TV shows, so getting him healthy and should be priority now and coming back better than ever. # tweet the table. Yes. Right? All of that I feel is well said. And of course, yes, his health is important. And man, the mental health aspect of this probably, like I said, there's a lot of suck there, right? And there's a lot of feels that you go through as CM Punk, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I like CM Punk too. I really do. When he was doing that heel title run in WWE, it was fantastic. I had a CM Punk shirt. I was wearing it in the early episodes of this podcast. We met Kofi Kingston and I'm wearing a CM Punk shirt. I've always been a CM Punk, the wrestler fan, right? The wrestler who is CM Punk. Loved him. I just think he's kind of mailing it in. Now, the MJF stuff was astronomically out of this world, triple grand slam, whatever kind of silly, thing you want to say. It was that, but the lately stuff, when he's kind of in this in between phases with his storylines, I feel like he can just do that a little bit better. Now, I thought when he was going to be champ, we were going to get a heel turn like he did in WWE, where he started off as a babyface. Let's say Kenny Omega comes back as a babyface to help him, and then he turns on Kenny Omega. Now I'm going after the Elite, or the Elite are coming after me and I'm my title, something like that. That's what I thought we were going to get. I don't know. We didn't. We did get, though, a Battle Royal. So let's get into last night's show, which we were at, if we didn't tell you already.
4 seats, because we're bougie.
Oh, it was fun. It was so much fun, except for whoever your podcast is that had that stupid sign in the front. I hope your podcast gets taken down for copyright infringement.
First of all, ours is better. And 2, we, in our wisdom, right? I'm not going to say age, with our wisdom over the years, we've learned you know what? There's a time and a place where, yes, right? We've told people to bring a tweet the table sign, and we might bring a sign. But you've got to understand the when and wheres, and that there's folks behind you, right?
And where we were at was not camera side or
Right.
camera anything.
Right.
So the only thing you're showing it to is no one.
Yeah, it was always so far. You know what I mean? Because it's literally one of the farthest spots away. And yeah.
Anyhow, so it kicked off.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But it kicked off with already in the ring. Now we got to see the entrances, which was great. But it kicked off with Tony Nese, Daniel Garcia, and Everybody Dies, Lance Archer. And then the show kicks off. Well, actually, I think Darby Allin was also in the ring. But then the show, I guess.
Well, he was the first. Like as the show kicks on, it was Darby.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But then the show properly gets kicked off with the greatest pro wrestler in the history of pro wrestling, Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's the best wrestler. Tell me a better wrestler than Eddie Kingston.
Hey, man, I'm not going to fight you on that one.
I mean,
I don't want Eddie Kingston to disagree with me. So
he's the best. He's the best. He is the best. He is like, he can do it all. But yeah, kicked off with Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston and Daniel Garcia just went at it. They just fought and fought and fought. And I loved it. It was so much fun how they just went right after it. And then we won't go through each individual one. I'll just kind of read the names of who else was there, and we can kind of touch on some highlights and then get into who won and go from there.
Sure.
So Ricky Starks, the Waste of Space, Jake Hager, Ray Phoenix, Swerve Strickland, and Keith Lee, John Silver. We got a rap from Max Caster. That was always fun. Powerhouse Hobbs, Dante Martin, Wheeler Yuta. And then the Joker was a returning Andrade. So let's talk about a little bit of the Battle Royal. What did you think overall of this Battle Royal?
Well, the Battle Royal was entertaining. You know, I think there was a lot of good spots in there, and they told some good stories. And I think we got some stories that are now evolving from it, right? The Swerve Strickland and the Keith Lee situation, right? Where Swerve Strickland throws Keith Lee out when he's unsuspecting, and he's like, hey, what the fuck? And Swerve's, whose house? Swerve's house. So fuck you, right?
Which is interesting because it shows kind of how dumb he is, right? Because you would wait till the last two.
Well, when Keith Lee's expecting it, you got to wait till like 3.
But then he gets eliminated.
Yeah.
So like,
so it doesn't work.
Up.
Yep.
That spot always makes me scratch my head because it's like, no, that person wants to help you.
Right. Wait until it's, I think the premier time if I'm doing that and somebody's help, like if you and me were in a battle royal,
yeah,
you're going to expect it when it's 1-2, and then I got to really fight you, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. So I'm doing it when it's you, me, and the other guy left, and you're like, all right, let's get this guy. I'll be like, all right, and then I'm going to whoop, and then I'm going to take my chances with the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But like doing it
unless I think I can beat you more than the other guy, maybe. But you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
Still, yeah, you don't do it just like 10 minutes into a 30-minute battle royal. But it was an interesting spot, and the thing that I think is interesting about that is, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think we've seen that in AEW. That's a WWE trope, right?
Oh, yeah.
One tag team partner turns on the other one. You know, now
at the Rumble,
it has
right?
turned, but sometimes it has turned into like, hey man, we got to fight. And other times it's been like, man, you got me tonight. So I'm interested to see Wednesday or on Friday Rampage, next week. Like, do they address it? Does it turn into, hey, what the hell? And
so, you could go 2 ways, right? They're immediately fighting on site. Or he's like, hey, what the hell? And he's like, man, it is what it is. And he's like, all right, you're right. But then something else happens, and then something else happens. And I'm kind of fine either way, I guess,
Or the third option is Keith Lee goes to Swerve Strickland. Hey, what the hell? Swerve Strickland's like, hey man, it was every man for himself. Keith Lee, totally get it.
Like,
hey
of
man,
course.
Yep. Then they have a tag match. Swerve Strickland gets a double team move put on him. Then he looks for a tag. Keith Lee drops from the apron. It's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And just walks away. And then
we get a Keith Lee.
Like, and then Keith Lee turns heel, which I wouldn't hate.
I wouldn't hate it either.
They've tried the like monster heel thing with like Lance Archer, for example. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't hit that well.
Nope.
But Keith Lee, maybe.
Yeah. Give it a shot. I feel like we haven't seen anything, even on the other side of things with WWE. We haven't seen a angry, about to fuck you up because he can, Keith Lee.
Right. Yeah. So I think that would be interesting.
Should call him fuck you because I can, Keith Lee. That should be his name.
I don't mind it. I thought so. The one thing that I thought was cool with this Battle Royal is you got to see some of the, like, I love Battle Royals. I even said this when I went to the Royal Rumble in January. One of the things that I like about it is that you get to see kind of different people who are just in these other spaces then finally collide. And one of the cool things that you got to see was babyface Eddie Kingston and Darby Allin mixing it up early on in the Battle Royal. Like, that kind of stuff was fun to just see two baby faces who are kind of separated collide. So that's always a fun thing of these Battle Royals. I will say, though, we talked about this right after it ended too, when we were at the show. It wasn't a lot of star power.
Correct.
Andrade, I understand. Andrade was returning because he got married to Charlotte Flair, and Andrade is Andrade, right? To a certain segment of wrestling fans, he's awesome. Not to us, but he's awesome, right? So him being the Joker, I think, was good because I was going to get enhancement fatigued if it was another new, he comes from WWE or Impact
Here's
Wrestling,
another New Japan guy.
It's like
the Forbidden Door.
Okay, what now? So is he in this show now, or are we just doing this?
Well, and hasn't the door ceased to be forbidden at this point?
Yeah. So I don't know, but
we got to rename that, right? It's not forbidden anymore.
Yeah. I don't know what you can name it, but something.
Hashtag tweet the table if you have an idea for what we can rename the Forbidden Door, because that's not what it means anymore, right? We're not sneaking somebody in the back door anymore. Now it's a portal between, worlds, right? So, like, some of you comic book nerds, hit us up with what's, I'm sure there's examples that we're not thinking of because we're not in that realm, but bring it to us. Hashtag tweet the table. We love you, comic book nerds. Don't take that as an insult. We're wrestling nerds.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Right. So the final four, it was Wheeler Yuta, Kyle O'Reilly, Andrade, and who was
love you, nerds. All right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
and Ray Phoenix.
Yes, Ray Phoenix. Oh man, this was a fun group.
Yeah, fun group, fun final four.
Yep.
I think though they went with the safest, kind of most boring option in Kyle O'Reilly, and that's not a slight on Kyle O'Reilly. I like Kyle O'Reilly, but he is. Like when he walks out, this is a trope as long as wrestling's been around. But if the guy walks out in a battle royal, but his tag team name is on the Titantron or whatever we're calling it, the big screen, he ain't winning shit. Like, he won this, but he ain't going to be anything because he's Red Dragon. Like, that tells you what he is. It's not Kyle O'Reilly, it's Red Wagon. Right. And so if he wins, we kind of already knew the main event. And so later on in the night, the main event would be Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly in a very fun match that didn't need, like, it was a fun match that was entertaining to be at and probably entertaining to watch on TV, but not needed for the story.
I just would have made this like the last match, and you could have said from the beginning the Joker will be Jon Moxley because he gets come in last, right? If you said he was the number one contender, even though he wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
Right, like he was.
What else? Yeah. Again, it's wrestling. It's wrestling. You know what I mean?
It is wrestling.
Yeah.
This is why some people warn them against rankings and win-loss records, because when you have to deviate from it, you got to be like, well.
Right. So I would have went with Wheeler Yuta in this spot.
Yes.
Because then you can do the Blackpool Combat Club. And then if you put William Regal not on commentary, but put him ringside, watch him go through the distraught of like, I like the young guy. Moxley's crazy. Who do I help? Like,
but it's also a teaching moment.
Exactly. Or it could have been very interesting. Again, you kind of knew that they weren't going to put Yuta in the main event.
This could have gone. I mean, Yuta already did one of these where he's bleeding all over the place, but you could have done it again. We could have had him damn near kill himself to try. Please, for our enjoyment, let's get Yuta out there to damn near kill himself.
Well, you know what I would have done? I would have switched that. I would have said Yuta is making Moxley bleed like a stuck pig because he has learned all the lessons, but then you get Moxley to do you haven't learned them all, and it's a small package or something, and Yuta's like, motherfucker, how much do I have to learn? And it's like, you got a lot, Val.
Got a lot to learn, but right? Yeah. Like, he gives him a Kansas City cunt punt,
which didn't Andrade do to Ray Phoenix?
Yes, I think so. I think it was that. Yeah.
God damn. So yeah, Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh yeah, he did that in air when he was doing like a flips and shit, and he hit him with the Ric Flair like in a Superman punch style, like up in the air. It was great.
It reminded me of Ken from Street Fighter. You know that big Hadouken?
Yes, that's what he did. He Hadoukened his fucking ball sack. All right, it was great.
Loved it. So O'Reilly wins, and then instantly we get Jon Moxley giving just a promo of just piss and violence, and he's mad. The Forbidden Door is his. This has been 3 years in the making, because remember, before he went to rehab, the last story that Moxley was telling us was, I'm going to Japan. They won't let me in Japan. I'm going to get to Japan. I'm going to beat everyone else up. Because we said it's Moxley versus Japan, because guys were coming over from those promotions and he was just kicking their ass. And so it kind of felt like that. And so now it makes a little bit more sense of that's why he wants it. I did and I watched it again because I wanted to make sure he said this. So he's doing all of this, all that stuff. And then he ends it with, love you, mom.
Yeah. And
then that's how the promo ends. I love the little swerve he does. No pun intended. The little swerve he does with his promos where it's like, oh, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. And well, everybody dies. Or I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. And then love you, mom. And so I think it's great.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we get the information. Now, we didn't get this because it was on commentary, but it was, I watched this back, but CM Punk had successful surgery. So good for him. That's awesome. He'll soon. And then we got a brand spanking new title, Tim. We got a tournament, which I love tournaments, but AEW is introducing the All Atlantic Championship to represent the international stars. And yes, as I mentioned, there will be a tournament with a 4-way final at Forbidden Door. And we had the first matchup, Buddy Matthews from the House of Black taking on Pac from Death Triangle. And this was fun.
This match was fun. I like this match a lot. I will say the thing that stuck out to me immediately as the announcement's coming. And again, we can kind of hear what's being said in the video package, but not, right? Because you're in the crowd. Floor seats because we're ballers, and we see there's a new title, we see there's going to be a tournament, we see it's the All Atlantic Championship, and it's got all these international stuff, somebody's representing a different place. There's Canada, there's US, but then there's Japan and some other things, right? Like Miro's spot, right? And it's not all of these are on the Atlantic Ocean, some are in the Pacific Ocean.
I didn't even think about that.
And so it's more than all Atlantic. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's great. Yeah. Well, maybe they're just not going to win. Maybe that's the.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. Where is I've got the tournament up though, and I want to go through it because I think I've got a great idea. I've got a great idea. Yeah.
All right. So we saw the first matchup, Buddy Matthews versus Pac. Next week, it's going to be Ethan Page versus Miro.
Yep.
Then it's also going to be Penta versus Malachi Black. And then we get, it hasn't been released yet, but New Japan Wrestler versus New Japan Wrestler.
Yeah.
So that's the bracket.
Yes. So here's what I want. All right. Here's what I want. All right. I want Miro to beat Ethan Page because,
Yeah. It's Miro.
Right. Then Miro's going to beat Pac because Pac beats Buddy Matthews here, right? In this match that we were at last night at Dynamite. Malachi Black beats, whoever this other, Penta Skrull, right? Roll with me here. Malachi Black wins, and then Malachi Black beats whoever the New Japan folks are, right? That are coming out of there, right? That's all I see on the bottom, right? Who?
Yeah. It's just
to be named, right?
Yep.
So what we get is Miro versus Malachi Black, and this kicks off the House of Black against Miro, where he's fighting against God, but God has put the devil, the devil in his way.
Oh, Tim, that's great.
Right? Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
You fuck with Miro's brain as the House of Black to be like, yeah, man, God sucks. Come with us to the devil and he'll help you. And then he's like, no. I need to get there because I'm going to take him down. And then the House of Black keeps telling him yeah, this is the way. Join us. We'll go through the back door of heaven.
Julia Hart could get involved in ways because remember, he's got his hot, sexy wife that's like, she's banished him from the home. And
that's how we debut CJ Perry.
Right.
Julia Hart's doing a little kissy, squeeze of the butt thing.
Devil seduction.
And then CJ Perry comes down and is like, bitch, that's my husband. And then, and put her in all white, like an angel.
Yes.
Oh, fuck yes, Tim.
Yes. They need to hire us.
Just have that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you sent me something, and I want to address this before we kind of go more into Dynamite. You showed me like the full list of all the titles now in AEW. Now, one thing that is confusing to a casual viewer, 1,000,000%, but something I think us as the hardcore fans need to realize is, and Tony Khan mentioned this off air to us, to the crowd, that there's going to be a pay-per-view in the summer for Ring of Honor, right? So to get a pay-per-view, you need exposure. And currently Ring of Honor doesn't have a TV deal, but they want to run a pay-per-view so they can start making money, right? So you got to expose them on your own product. So like the influx of Ring of Honor champions, you have FTR, you have Samoa Joe. I understand because it's like, hey, we want you to pay a ticket to see these champions, but if you never see these champions, you're not just going to go sight unseen and just buy a pay-per-view because of names you recognize, right? Now,
the pause on that though is like, I will tell you this: each week that I see FTR, and then I see they're wearing the ROH tag team titles, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They're not the AEW champions. They're the ROH champions. And then I got to be like, who the fuck's the AEW tag team champions again? I'm like, Jurassic Express. I feel like it's kind of lowered the AEW status a little bit.
I don't think it's necessarily lowered. I think it's made you say, when you see this Ring of Honor pay-per-view, you love FTR, don't you? And we go like, yes, we do. Right. I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think we're in a temporary push of Ring of Honor talent so that we buy that payper-view. But
pause on that also real quick. Okay. Last night when we were in AEW Dynamite on the floor, in Kansas City, it hit me that FTR kind of looks like some cops.
Oh yeah. They definitely look like cops.
They look like cops that pull up like, they're going to do the like both windows to you. And they're going to be like, why are you looking at me? Talk to him. What? And like trying to catch you up. Yeah. They look like some dirty cops.
Yeah. Super troopers, all that stuff. They look like extras in all of those movies for sure. But to a casual fan, I can understand the confusion. If you're just kind of in and out, like, hey, I have Wednesday night free, might as well watch wrestling. But like, I work the other Wednesday, so I'm not going to really pay attention to this. And then you tune in and you see later on, we'll get to like that ladder match that's announced for next week, and that's a tag team champion. But then you saw FTR, and that's a tag team. Like it is confusing. I understand that, but I think again, we're getting Ring of Honor a push so that eventually they can get their own TV, and then hey, we're off.
Then there'll be a Forbidden Door occasional entrance, as opposed to seeing them every week, right? We will not be seeing Sanjay Dutt every damn week.
Yeah. Now, I will say the confusing part, and credit to Excalibur because I watched the show from last night, and he does mention how the Owen Hart titles are just trophies; they are not to be defended. They're not. But then. You could have done it differently. Here's how you could have done it differently. And shout out our good friend of the show, Todd Countryman. He brought up a great idea that they missed a huge opportunity to give them Slammy-like awards for winning the Owen Hart. I said they could have gave him 2 each for no reason, right? Or Adam Cole could have been bringing his and Britt Baker's around using like both of them, like Owen Hart did with the Slammies. People be like, you didn't even win. You won one of those. The other one's your wife's. And be like, just change the subject and go on, right? Like, I'm great. They missed a great opportunity there. Great. Yeah. And I understand for the first year because they wanted his wife to be a part of it. And that would have kind of been weird for her to be like, here's this special body slam. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it, but maybe next year, let's get to some fun, because it does look weird when Adam Cole is interrupting Hangman, which we'll get to, and they're talking about another title that we don't see.
Talking about 2 other titles.
but then
yeah,
he has
he's wearing a title, right?
And so why aren't we fighting for that? Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, we'll talk about a title situation even later with some other folks too. There's a lot of confusion around the title, so we'll keep making that a focus.
So let's kind of hit on this real quick, and then we'll move on. But what did you think of Buddy Matthews versus Pac?
Fine. I think these two, you know what I mean? They work well together. They've got some similar styles. They kind of come from that same mentality, I think. And Pac is always good for those spots, right? Like his finisher is great. He knows how to kind of just look at the crowd and be like, yeah, right? Like, and you're like, boo, I don't like you, right? Like he's good. I think it was, it was all great.
Pac is like, yeah, you disgruntled asshole.
Yeah, it was all great. I love a good tournament. It's also one of these where I'm like, I'm not really into either storyline that these guys are doing. And so it's just kind of like, all right, this match happens and I don't think either one of them are winning it. So it was kind of like, all right, cool. That was fun, right? Especially being live. I think I liked it more live even than I would have maybe watched it on TV.
I liked, and again, we're foreshadowing a lot, but we got some points to make here tonight. But I like that there was so much back and forth because the House of Black and Death Triangle have been feuding. So it would make sense that each one would know the offense of the other guy so that there would be counters and kickouts, things like that. So I like that part of this match because it did go for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. But there was back and forth. And I don't like back and forth just for the sake of back and forth. But I did like it in this because it made sense that, we fought each other for the last, 3 months. So like, I'm going to know what you're going to do. Right. So I like that part of it. Now, let's keep it moving here. Backstage, Eddie Kingston goes on a rant, one for the ages, talks about the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he talks about how Friday night he's going to kick Jake Hager's ass. And Daniel Garcia, I hate him. Jericho, I hate him. 2.0 or whatever you're calling yourself, I hate him.
Yeah.
And he's the fucking best because I'll be honest with you. Anyone other than Eddie Kingston, and I don't give two shits about Jericho Appreciation Society versus anyone right now.
Yeah, I agree. He like Eddie Kingston just has that. When we talk about the so many people can what's the word I'm looking for? Just like they can just see themselves in a star, right? Like you can just connect. There's just something you connect to. Eddie Kingston is that everyman, right? There's so many aspects of Eddie Kingston that people will just be like, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like he talks about having been poor, right? Like he's out of shape. He's just trying hard. He's not the most skilled, right? But but God damn it, I'm not going to go down until you know what I mean? You better fucking kill me, right? And it's just a great attitude that people want to co-opt and stuff. And so I think there's so much money there. It feels like they just kind of I wouldn't force it, but they ought to be willing and ready at any moment to turn that switch on whenever Eddie Kingston catches fire with something, right? This Jericho thing ain't it, but when you've got a great heel, a dominant heel who is holding power and authority over people either by hook or by crook or something, it seems insurmountable. Eddie Kingston, like an Eddie Kingston type character would be a great guy to take down the Roman Reigns character right now. You know what I mean? If they get something like a scenario like that in AEW soonish, man, it would have been great for CM Punk if he would have turned heel with the title and been you know what I mean? Cheesily finding ways to keep holding on to it because he's a scumbag, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, you have Eddie Kingston obviously not do the same kind of move set, and it's not so much pity, but have him be the AEW version of Mick Foley. You know what I mean? Mick Foley had a lot of, I kind of didn't work out today because it was hard. Now Eddie Kingston leans into it where he's I got vices.
You know how much a gym membership is? I gotta sleep in my fucking car, man. You think they pay me a lot? Right.
Well, yeah, but with him,
but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but with him, he kind of says I have vices. I'm trying to get over them, but it didn't happen today. And it's same here. I was gonna do something. I failed, but so that's relatable, right? So yeah, Eddie Kingston is just the absolute best because it can work both ways, right? He could be working on his vices. That's the baby face, right? God damn it, man. I know that I need to, work harder in these matches. So I'm going to. And then if you want to flip it on the heel side, it's I got these vices. I need to hurt you. I'm jealous of you. Okay. And I get that too, right? He's awesome. He's the best. Anyhow, let's move on. Then we get the most surprising moment of the night. So it starts off with Trent Beretta comes out, says National Best Friends Day. None of his friends are there. No Orange Cassidy, no Chuck. Chris Statlander apparently just has left the group. Yuta obviously went to Blackpool Combat Club. And so he's like, hey, best friends aren't here. But Roppongi Vice wasn't beaten by FTR. So I want the match. And FTR comes out and they're fucking cool, right? Coming in there, probably smelling like Old Spice and, you know, whatever cigarette they just smoked. And they're like, you know what? All right. Like, you shouldn't be mad at us. You should be mad at that team who cost you the match. Cause like, it wasn't us who, you know, just got disqualified. It was these assholes. Right. And so then Dax is like, all right, come on, that team, Jeff Cobb and the other guy, like, get out here. And then out of nowhere, Will Ospreay shows up looking like an ugly BG. And he's like, look at me, I'm hopping around. And then he calls his group the Aussie something, and they jump FTR and Trent Beretta. What did you think of New Japan invading one segment of AEW?
If I'm going to be 100% honest with everyone here, if I have something if there's a few things I don't like about AEW, one of them is the New Japan involvement. I don't watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I don't have enough time to sit there and watch another one that like I also might need to translate. And, you know, like it's just not gonna happen. And so like, to me, as we've talked a whole bunch of times, they don't explain the New Japan stuff enough, right?
Yeah.
They just show up and expect like everybody to be like, oh shit, it's Will Ospreay. We know who Will Ospreay is because we have been doing a pro wrestling podcast, and thus we stay in tune to the pro wrestling world on social media. Mm-hmm. But if we did not, I would not. You know what I mean? Like, I might hear the name, but like, I definitely wouldn't know him on sight, and I definitely wouldn't give a shit. And so I kind of right now don't give a shit. I'm like, all right, cool. I hear about it, but I also know enough to know it's not my favorite style of wrestling, right? It's a lot of the Young Buck style, right? It's the hand holding. It's the, I did 14 flips over you and landed on one leg, and then I flexed to everybody, and it was like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. I'll give you props, but that's kind of where I'm at with the Will Ospreay thing. So to me, it's like, I know this is a big deal. I know everybody in the wrestling world's like, oh my God, Will Ospreay's finally on American television on one of the big things. And it's a thing. But like, to me, I'm like, God damn it. Now we got to spend more time on a person that I'm kind of like, yeah, I hope this goes quick.
Yeah. And I understand, hey, with the partnership, you know, they're both trying to get something out for themselves, right? AEW is probably trying to get exposed to a Japanese market where it's like, check out Orange Cassidy, check out Eddie Kingston, like, here's some of our guys. And for New Japan, they're going to say, check out Tanahashi, check out Will Ospreay, check out Jay White, right? My thing, and this is another criticism we've shared about AEW, is Ospreay jumps out. And it's a hardcore kind of crowd. It's more than a hardcore crowd than, say, WWE is, right? But I'd like, why is he going after these people? Like, there was no explanation. It was just, and then if it's not an explanation, if it's just simply, hey, these are AEW guys at the 29th, it's going to be my promotion versus that promotion. So we're just looking to pick off whoever we can. Cool. But then if that's the story we're telling, why is no one else in the AEW locker room, as far as baby faces, running out to help? Like,
well, and I want to touch on the best friends thing. They've watered this down so much. They're the best friends, but they are also involved in this thing, right? Like, whatever.
And Roppongi Vice.
You're right. Yeah. But now Orange Cassidy's nowhere to be found. And even though they're playing his name on the intro board, right? As Trent Bretta's out there. And it's just like, for a team I loved, it really was like, these are the guys.
Yep. Bro.
This is the thing.
Moment in time.
It's just gone now.
Yeah, for a moment in time, they were the best. That street fight with Santana and Ortiz and Sue's, Trent's mom comes out. That was the time to make them champs. That time is now past. I don't understand. Now, again, with last night, I understand it, right? Orange Cassidy is hurt. I think the last time we saw him, he was in a sling. But like, why wasn't Chuck Taylor there?
Yeah.
Like,
The combo really makes that team, right?
Yeah.
Like they just, their personalities are different when they're apart enough that it doesn't feel like the team anymore.
Yeah. And then again, it's just this weird, and it's okay, right? I've got different groups of friends. You know what I mean? Like I've got wrestling friends.
Yeah, I've got like two or three friends.
Well, then like, then I got MMA friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've got different interests. So I don't have to just be, hey,
yeah, I've got barbecues where I can't like invite some people because the other people won't like them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for that. But I guess with Trent Beretta specifically, because he's like Roppongi Vice, but best friends, Roppongi Vice, but best friends. I kind of just want like, hey man, just I get it. You're with the best friend and you're with Roppongi Vice. Let's just make a declaration of who we're with for like the next month.
But and
that's
like,
the thing.
Kind of what you said. If Will Ospreay's coming in and he's like, well, I'm just gonna pick somebody off. It's not Trent Beretta who hasn't been around for you know what I mean? Unless it's just like, hey, I just walked in the door, first motherfucker I see out there.
But that wasn't
explained. These hands, right?
That's what I'm saying. But nothing was explained on why he did it. It was shock just for shock. It's kind of like when at SummerSlam, Becky Lynch just showed up to show up. Like, what? It doesn't make sense. And so, yeah, it was cool. Will Ospreay, like on paper, if you say Will Ospreay is going to make a surprise debut on AEW Dynamite, awesome. But like, have Stokely Hathaway speak for him, or have smart Mark Sterling say like, FTR, those belts are in breach of contract, and I have the person who's going to take those belts from you, and it's these fucking guys. Like, there has to be story more than just surprise.
Yep.
Why? Because again, we went, full disclosure, we went with my wife and brother-in-law. They are not hardcore fans of wrestling. So
barely call them casual fans.
Right. So when Will Ospreay debuted and everyone reacted, my brother-in-law was like, well, who's him? And I was like, so he's this guy in New Japan. And literally the second question he asked, he's like, so why doesn't he like them? And I couldn't answer it. I don't fucking know. I don't know. And when I can't explain it to a casual, like, you're not in a good spot.
Well, then it feels bad too, because you're kind of like, you feel like you're letting wrestling down. But you got to be like, it's not my fault.
I'm sorry. So, yeah. So then it was announced on Friday, and I would say check out the match. It was very fun. It's FTR and Trent Beretta taking on Will Ospreay and those Aussie Open guys or whatever.
Fake Hager and whatever else.
Oh yeah, Down syndrome, Peaky Blinder.
Yeah,
those two. Yeah. So there we go. Let's get into
looking like a local chapter of the Proud Boys. It was a little
on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get William Regal warning Kyle O'Reilly. That was fine. Nothing bad there, but nothing really of note. And then we get into a match that I have mixed emotions about. Since his loss at Double or Nothing, it was a returning Hangman Adam Page taking on the son of Finlay, David Finlay, in a one-on-one contest, and Adam Cole was on commentary. Tim, what did you think of the match?
I didn't, this is it too. I don't care, right? Like, cool. It was mildly interesting because, I grew up knowing who Finlay is, and now here's his son. And so great, right? Like, I'm going to see, I know I've heard he's been wrestling and tearing shit up over in New Japan. So, all right, I'm going to see him. But I feel like that's something for a Rampage, or that's something for an Elevation or a Dark, right? Because, like, again, casual viewer even enough to know, like, well, he's not winning, right? This is going to be Hangman. I feel like Hangman should have been in the Battle Royal, because a Battle Royal is an easy thing for you to still lose and then be like, God damn it, right? Because, you know what I mean? Somebody swerved you, right? Etc. Right? It's not your fault when you lose more often than not a Battle Royal. Like, somebody, you know what I mean? Shit happens. And so, like, that gets him like, God damn it, I'm still coming for you, punk, right? Like, again, it felt like a throwaway.
It did definitely feel like a throwaway. And that's why I kind of have a beef with this match. Two reasons. One, if Hangman is supposed to be the, demon from hell on this rampage, like on this revenge tour to get his title back or whatever it is, right? He's like, I'm going to reestablish who I am. I am the best guy in this company. Then the match doesn't need to go back and forth with David Finlay. Like that should have been David Finlay gets a kick in the face to Adam Page. Adam Page gets up, then reverses a fucking move, buckshot Lariat, and we're done.
Yeah,
like,
we get like, is that blood on my lip? You son of a bitch, right? And then just bap, bap, boom. Kansas City Comp Hunt, and we're done. Yeah,
like if Hangman is your number one contender, David Finlay shouldn't be getting 2 counts on him. Like that's
multiple.
That's my first. Yeah, that's my first thing is, and I get it. We're not just trying to squash people here, right? Like, hey, go check out David Finlay. I understand that, but then don't put him with Hangman, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah, but like you said, no 2 counts. You can get a 1 count in here, or maybe 1-2 count.
Yeah,
early or something. But then Hangman turns it on, right?
Right, and then you're not getting shit after that. But yeah, too many back and forth things. The second thing that I had an issue with this match had nothing to do with the competitors, neither Hangman or David Finlay. But again, we're trying to increase viewership and get casuals, and you keep promoting that on June 29th, it's the Forbidden Door, AEW versus New Japan. Well, you're just giving it to me now.
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I going to buy this pay-per-view if you're just going to give me Hangman versus David Finlay for no reason?
And as I'm saying, if this is what it is, I flat out kind of will tell you, I'm probably not buying this pay-per-view.
Oh, I'm going to, because I just love AEW and it's Hangman. And so Hangman gets the victory, right? Hangman gets victory and he addresses the Battle Royal. For whatever reason, he's like, they don't want me to have this title. I'm not getting a title shot anytime soon. No idea why, right? Is Tony Khan now a heel? Again, anyhow, semantics. But then he's like, I then want another world title. I want the IWGP title and I want Okada. And he goes, boo, boo, right? Boo, boo, boo,
yep.
boo, boo, right? But then Adam Cole goes like, no, it's me. I want that because I won the Owen. Now he makes a valid point. Hey, I won the Owen Hart thing. You lost your match.
Yep.
In our last 2 biggest matches, I won and you lost, so I should get that shot. Again, why?
So he didn't want the title. He wants the title. But here comes the guy with the title, but he didn't want that title. That guy also wants the other title, but not the first title.
Yeah. And what? Why doesn't Adam Cole want to face? Why wasn't Adam Cole in the damn Battle Royal?
Then why didn't Adam Cole just go kick his ass? You know what I mean?
Because
go kick his ass.
Well, I get that point because he can't, right? But like, if Adam Cole is wanting power and gold and all the super elite whatever stuff, why wasn't he in the Battle Royal?
Yeah, why is he not in the Battle Royal? Yes, there's a lot of why is he not in the Battle Royals. Oh, Katie First Lady is in the chat on YouTube, and she says, hey, birthday girl in the house.
Hey.
What? And then she says, Cody's chest still gives me nightmares. Oh, stay tuned, Katie. We're going to be bringing that up later. We got to tweet the table about that. And
Katie, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Katie, we were at AEW Dynamite last night. Don't know if you heard that. We had floor seats. I think I might name this episode Floor Seats.
Maybe we should. So again, it was cool that Hangman wants to go for the IWGP championship because again, it can't just be New Japan guys want AEW titles. I get it, right? Have some AEW talent say like, I want the opportunities over there. So I understand from a baseline standpoint of what the pay-per-view is, like why someone would go after the IWGP heavyweight championship. I just think Hangman should be going after the title he just lost because that's what he loves the most. Anyhow, like Wardlow going after the IWGP heavyweight championship would make more sense to me than Hangman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Speaking of Wardlow, next up we get Wardlow. And he's in there, and he also doesn't make any fucking sense.
No sense. Can I talk about this? All right. So
yes,
Wardlow comes out and he's like, Wardlow, right? And he's like, listen, I wasn't in the in the thing, but I asked not to be. And then that immediately, I'm already rejecting this. I'm like, no, you didn't. Why are you saying this? First of all, because like I get enough to understand Wardlow is brand new, right? He just got his contract. Might have had one legitimate match that we've seen on television, right? Like as an AEW wrestler, he's not earned his spot in that battle royal.
That's the fucking story you tell.
But like, but you don't even have to address it. So like he says, I didn't want it. And we're like, well, why didn't you want it? Right. And he goes into, that's why the whole crowd went, why didn't you want it at once? And don't know if you caught that on TV. And so he says, CM Punk is our champion. So if I'm not pinning his shoulders to the mat, I don't want it. But the problem with that is that's how the interim title works. Like you'll be the champion until he comes back and then you get a chance to pin his shoulders to be the full champion. What are you talking about? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. And then he goes, instead, I want the TNT title. The TNT title. Scorpio Sky comes out and he's like, fuck you, you will. Right? Paraphrasing. But like, shouldn't that just have been reversed? Right? Like, shouldn't the Scorpio Sky have been out there just talking smack, talking some shit, and Wardlow comes out and he's like, will you shut your mouth? I'm going to shut you. They wouldn't let me in that thing because I'm too new, but I'm not too new for that. Give me that. Right? Yes. And that's all you needed.
That's what I thought you should do is Wardlow says, I've only had one contracted AEW match. And then you don't even have to put it on AEW, right? He could have just said the babyface thing to do is to start from the bottom and work your way to the top.
Yeah.
And one title that is before that is the TNT championship. And then Scorpio Sky comes out. He's injured. They say, don't do it. And then he's like, I'll wait for you. Right.
Yeah, or even just, again, we addressed this earlier with Hangman. You could have put him in the battle royal and had somebody, 3 guys when his back is turned, whoops him out. Right. And then he's got somebody to go after.
Oh, and again, we'll talk about what he's doing next week real quick. But if you go that route and you have Wardlow in the match, right? It could have still been Scorpio Sky, who's not in the battle royal, sneaks in, eliminates him, and is like, I eliminated you because I'm the man of the hour and you're getting too much attention.
Yeah, I should have been in that match. Why the hell were you? You've only had one contracted match.
Yeah.
Like, should have been me. It'd be like, should have been you. Like, you're already a champion. And be like, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, so what? I could have been for 2. Be like, well, you're not going to have any because I'm taking that one.
So it makes no sense what Wardlow's saying, but he does say,
which is dangerous because Wardlow's so on fire right now. He's so hype. Then he comes out and he's like, well, I didn't want to wrestle for the title and now I want to go for an easier one.
Yeah. And so hopefully we can like brush this under the rug as fast as possible because next week is when he gets to do his fun shit. And I get it, right? Wardlow just took out MJF. We need to have him in serious things. No, we don't. Because next week it's going to be Wardlow versus 20 security guards. It's 1-on-20. I love that. This is when you get the fun shit. This is the Braun Strowman tips over the fucking ambulance, or Braun Strowman, rips down the Raw set. Like, this is the great stuff that we're going to get, that we're going to talk about next week when we're like, holy shit, Tim, when he fucking just threw the guy into the third row, power bomb.
Remember when he picked up a guy and Cesaro swinged and knocked over 7 other guys?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's going to be fun. So that's what you need to do with Wardlow, is have him go back to being fun while we wait to do the next thing. And this is a perfect thing to do because Mark Sterling obviously is a schmuck. And so he's easy to put the promos on. And then it's security guards. Like, the security guards we saw were local. Like, we knew them. It was Niles Planquet and Howlett and Curtis Stallion.
Kurt Gannon.
Kurt Gannon, yeah. And so, you know what I mean?
Flex was out there. Well, I don't, not in that
Flex
spot, I think, but
security.
he was actual security. Yeah. But he also had a spot where he was, who was he helping out up the stage? I forgot.
Eddie Kingston,
that's right. Eddie. Right. But that was late. That was Rampage, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Rampage. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, by the way, I can hear a little static. Just
okay. All right.
Yep. Just want to let you know on that. So I don't know if something's touching. Nope. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, we get through that silliness, but again, next week we're gonna get some highlights from Wardlow as he goes 1-on-20, one on one
One on
versus
20.
one,
Yeah.
but 1 versus 20 security guards. Love it. It's elimination too, I think. So it's not gonna actually be like all 20 at the same time. So let's get into the next thing. You mentioned them, the tag team champions for AEW, Jurassic Express. Now, this segment starts with the Young Bucks talking about how they're beating everyone. So now they want their championships back. Okay, kind of makes sense, right? They pinned the champions. Before that, they beat the Lucha Bros. So it would make sense that they think they were ready for that. But then the Hardys come in. We're like, well, guess what? Who beat you at Double or Nothing? Okay, still makes sense. Everything's coherent here. And then Jurassic Express comes in with Christian just overriding whatever Jurassic Express wanted to do, just putting them in spots that maybe they're not comfortable with. At least that's what Jungle Boy looked like. He did not look
so he Christian has a couple times been throwing subtle shade at Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy started to kind of, if you notice the facial expressions, he's like, wait a minute, man, like what? And then he puts him in this like, well, hey, let's all three teams, let's all have a match, and we're going to do it in a match made us famous, ladder match. And Jungle Boy's kind of like, wait. You know what I mean? Like, are you speaking for us? Like, you kind of see a little bit of that where he's like, and the last couple of weeks that Christian has been doing this, he's been literally dressed in all jet black. I think we're getting what we've talked about. The Christian now is finally like punking these dudes.
Okay, but now here's my question for you. Is it Christian Punk's Jurassic Express, or is it Luchasaurus and Christian Punk Jungle Boy? Because one thing that you're also noticing is Luchasaurus. Now, again, he's a dinosaur, so he thinks he can do everything, right? But he has no like side looks at Christian. Right. He's just like Jungle Boy. Like it's always Jungle Boy who's like, what the fuck are we doing this week? Like, or because again, Tony Khan likes to try to, ying when we all think it's yang, right? He swerves right when you should be swerving left.
Yeah, well,
what if it's Jungle Boy fucking beats up Christian Cage and was like, you're the asshole who kept on putting us in these situations. Like, and Christian's like, I thought you could handle it. It's Jungle Boy then turns heel and is like, yeah, I'm tired of you fucking over my shoulder telling me what to do.
No, I kind of think
would be fun.
I think it would be better if we have the Luchasaurus turns heel. Maybe we go away from the Luchasaurus thing as Christian's like, then we can get back to the I'm a dinosaur thing later, right?
Yes.
But we get him away because Christian's like, listen, I'm going to take you to the top. Nobody's better than me, man. Look what I did for Edge. Look what I did for, or he'll say Adam or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he'll, you know what I mean? Like, look what I did for that Randy guy over there or whatever. Right? Like, just say a bunch of things, right? Like, be like, remember I teamed with Chris Jericho. I made him a champion, right? Like, all kinds of stuff, right? Like, and then we get a more heel, sinister character out of whatever name we're going to apply to Luchasaurus. I think that would be the better play. Because again, as you said, we need a new big monster, right?
Yeah. Because again, Miro's awesome, but he's not necessarily the most intimidating one. Like he's put together. He gets the award for getting off the bus, but like he's not the biggest guy on the roster. So a Luchasaurus being the big monster could make sense. But it's interesting because Luchasaurus, I've always noticed, because I have been noticing Jungle Boy keeps looking sideways, but Luchasaurus is just like, yeah, what? Why are you upset about this?
Yeah.
And that makes me think where Jungle Boy is like, well, then I want out of this. You guys suck. And then he, gets in his feelings.
Could be. I don't know how I'm going to feel with a heel Jungle Boy, right?
I don't know. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Could be fun. But it's most likely going to be Christian. Yeah. Because for all the things that AEW does do when they swerve when they shouldn't kind of thing, they also do pay off things that should be paid off. Like they make it simple. From
the subtleties, and the Young Bucks are good at this. Like this is an aspect of the game that I do appreciate that they have in these segments where they're talking, and then Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy come in, and he's like, God damn it. He's like, Brandon, I told you to lock the door. Like, what the fuck's going on? Lock the door. And then when Christian walks in with it, he's like, hey, you guys ought to lock that door. Like just the little subtle things, right?
Yeah. Well, and again, I've challenged them on this podcast before, and I'll do it again. But like, Young Bucks, you keep telling me you're the fucking greatest thing in the fucking world. All I see you do is work with your friends. Like, go run up on Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Go run up on Team Taz. You know what I mean? Like, you're
I know
just,
what you mean. Yeah.
but you're always just with your friends. It's always Jurassic Express, Lucha Bros, maybe a private
Why
party.
didn't we get a Young Bucks versus Butcher and Blade best of 5 or something?
Or just anyone, like any other tag team. And I know they did the
Acclaimed and Young Bucks.
Right. And I'm talking like a story, not just a one-off.
That's what I'm saying. Like a best of 5. We don't have to call it best of 5, but like, let's get 5 matches out of this story.
Yeah. And not just a one-off where it's the Varsity Blondes versus the Young Bucks for a Dynamite. I'm talking like hey, we have a story here to tell, and it's not with our friends. Because that's the thing that's kind of annoying about all of them.
You brought up the Varsity Blondes. You see the tweet I sent you where it said, like, name your celebrity crush, and Brian Pillman was like, Mandy Rose. Hope she doesn't see this. And then a bunch of people were like, Brian, thanks for helping me find my lost puppy, bro. Yeah. Like, thanks for letting me borrow the Lambo last weekend.
Yeah. Good
thanks for giving me a couple of $grand to get my grandpa's rent or something. That was great. Loved it.
That was awesome. But yeah, just and again, it looks like Adam Cole is going to be taking on Hangman Adam Page. First off, we just saw that 2 months ago, and then
or they're going to be in a 3-way with whatever.
Okada,
who was it again? Okada,
yeah. But again, it's like, well, I want to challenge yourself. Just challenge yourself. That's all I would say is just get outside of your comfort zone. Work with Keith Lee. Work with John Moxley, not with Kenny Omega, like a John Moxley kind of by his own thing. Work with there's just so many people, work with Bryan Danielson and CM Punk versus the Young Bucks. Do that. You know what I mean?
Let's get Lance Archer and who else? Who would join Lance Archer against the Young Bucks?
Oh, yeah,
Lance Archer's an alone guy.
No. Here it is. Kip Sabian. He keeps doing the underrated, overrated thing, and he just joins them because he's like, fuck these people. They're all dying. I'm with you, Lance. Let's kill them all.
Yeah, everybody dies, and I want to watch them.
Yeah,
and Lance is like, all right, I can get behind that.
Yeah, cool.
That's good. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back in the show. Then we get into our legitimate piss break. It's the Thunder Rosa versus Marina Shafir. I legitimately got up to go use the bathroom because I had to, 1. And 2, Marina Shafir is getting too much TV time. This was her first match in a couple months, and that's too much. She's horrible.
Yeah, it was not fun.
She's not. She is fine. I should clarify my statements here. She can wrestle. She's good at that.
She knows the moves. She's got the spots. She understands what the shtick is.
But she is Elias boring. Like Elias or Ezekiel, whatever the fuck we're calling him, does all the fun stuff, what she doesn't do. But like he does all the fun stuff. But when you ring the bell, ain't no one fucking caring. And Marina Shafir, you can say, I'm the problem. Oh, you should solve me. All that fucking dumb shit. But she's boring. She is boring. And Thunder Rosa, for her credit, made this match something, right? It was something. But the big news is Thunder Rosa beats Marina Shafir. Post-match, Marina Shafir is like, well, I don't like this.
Fuck that
and
bitch.
Hits her. And then Tony Storm runs out just wearing a bra, which apparently is a shirt for women. That's interesting.
I'm down. Fine.
Yeah, but it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're just passing bras off as shirts.
Yeah.
Like let's
just go all the way then.
I know I'm not body shaming people, but it's just come on. Anyhow, I don't know why that was a critique of mine. But it looks like it's going to be now.
Listen, do you right to censor?
Well, it's not right to censor. It's just like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know.
Listen, that skirt doesn't go down to your knees. I'm going to need you to go back and change.
Not that. It's just fucking, come on. You're wearing a fucking underwear. You're wearing underwear. You're not wrestling and you're wearing underwear. Anyhow. But it looks like we're going to get Tony Storm, Thunder Rosa.
Hey, remember when you said, like, if you look like Randy Orton, you wouldn't wear pants either? I think it's the same kind of thing.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. What did I think about this match? I didn't give a shit about the match. And yeah,
what do you think about Tony Storm?
Yeah, Tony Storm,
Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa. I guess I just isn't she being Tony Storm face too? So are we getting a face thing?
Right.
So right now we don't have a world's champion on the men's side. So like Thunder Rosa is the world champion. And it just feels like, kind of like you said, they put this in the piss break spot. She gets attacked from behind after kind of an easy, like roll up, wasn't it? Kind of a thing.
Yes,
and then needs help from the other face, right? I don't know. It's a good look. Just didn't, it just didn't really hit with me.
What didn't hit with me is now apparently you can fail up and get a title shot.
Yeah.
Because Tony Storm lost the Owen Hart thing to Britt Baker. And now she just gets the women's. Again, nothing was announced, but we can put 2 and 2 together. It looks to be that way down the road. And I understand Tony Storm's going to go on Elevation or Dark and win 8 matches in a row. And then it's going to look like, hey, she's the number 1 contender. I get it, right? Again, it's wrestling. So you're not trying to get too upset about it. But it just, Tony Storm so far in AEW is a loser. Just like Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir might have went on a 10-match win streak on Dark or Elevation. But the last time I saw her, she lost to whoever that person was. Jade Cargill. She took on Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill beat her ass, right? So like she failed up because the next time we see her on Dynamite, she's getting a shot. And so that's what I don't
here's
like about
again.
this.
So like you lose to Jade Cargill, but now you get a world title match. Like it's backwards, and it almost feels like, well, is the TBS champion the real women's champion? Right? Like, is that the more important belt? Now,
and with Marina Shafir, I guess the criticism can be washed away with it was an open challenge. So she answered it. Open challenge. Sure. Okay.
Yes, of course.
That's good.
Yeah.
But like,
but same thing. Shouldn't it be kind of like you said, where David Finlay shouldn't have got a little bit of offense before he got smacked up?
Yeah. Like,
you're going to be good one day, Marina Shafir, but right now today. Our world champ is a class above you.
Right. And that's where I get it. They are very much, if you're breaking kayfabe, they are definitely ones that are like, hey, we'll give you some offense, right? Kenny Omega took shit from Bully Ray because he wrestled a match with Sonny Kiss in a tournament. And he was the champion, and I think it was Sonny Kiss. And Sonny Kiss got offense, and Bully Ray's like, "You don't ever do that." And he's like, "Shut up." Yeah, it's okay, right? And it is okay, generally speaking, but not with storytelling, right? Like the storytelling, you shouldn't be doing that. Because, I mean, you want to look at real sports? Look at boxing. When a champion loses, they typically then get a tune-up fight, then they get a contenders fight, and then they get the championship fight if it wasn't an immediate rematch. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I need my champions to be like, I'm the fucking best. Like, I'm the best.
Yeah, unless there's something intrinsically in the story to the champion that they're a, champion by luck, right?
Right,
or
exactly.
try hard who managed to get one over, and now they've got to pull shit out of their ass to maintain it.
But not Thunder Rosa.
Or they're a heel who uses cheating. But Thunder Rosa is supposed to be
the badass.
One of the best competitors, and that's why she won it.
And so, I just need, again, Britt Baker looks like $1 million almost every single time. And that's fine, because she should be, because she's great. And I like her a lot. But we need other people in that women's division other than Jade Cargill.
Main event level people to act like main event level people is kind of the thing with AEW is like, it feels like what you're telling me is there is no like, if we were going to do sports references, if you go like, who's the NFL quarterbacks, you've definitely got you'll say like, hey, these top 5 are the elite. The next 10 are good. The next 7 are bums, right? Like that kind of thing. We don't have a lot of that at all. It's like, you've got a champ, but like they're in the same level as like 30 people. Anybody can give them a 20-minute masterpiece. Anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And that needs to not happen. In my opinion, there just needs to be more squashes, more like, oh shit, this is a strong champion. Like she'll fuck you up.
If for nothing else, for setting yourself up for the ability to create that story to elevate somebody to that later. Right? Because like right now we're like, oh my God, we built Wardlow. But like, if anybody can beat anybody, we're going to lose the momentum with a Wardlow build, right?
Yeah.
Thunder
exactly.
Rosa. Same thing is happening now.
Right. Exactly. So let's move on to the main event. As mentioned, Jon Moxley takes on the winner of the Battle Royal, Kyle O'Reilly. Again, fine, good.
Friends of the show.
Friends of the show, both been on.
Yep.
Thank you so much for both doing interviews with us. Moxley wins.
We all knew that.
And that's the show.
Yeah, but we all got to do the wild thing.
Oh, it was fun to be there. Yeah, I stood up on
as
my
he
chair.
walked by us in our floor seats.
Yep. So much fun. Got to do all the fun stuff with them. But again, it would have been a more interesting match, in my opinion, with the people that were in that battle royal if it was Willie or Yuta. You know what I mean?
I agree. And look, I think, we knew it would be a good brutal match where it would kind of be like, hey guys, you didn't have to go that hard, right? Like you took it a little bit easier. We'd all be happy.
There was one spot where Kyle O'Reilly got he was biting the second rope, and then Moxley kicked the rope and then hurt his mouth. Like that was cool. But I don't know. I want some more established, these are the fucking people, these are the mid-tier, and these are just kind of working on it. Cause it feels to me that Adam Cole, Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, and Bryan Danielson are all the fucking same. But then when they wrestle Max Caster, they have to kick out a 3-2 counts. Mm-hmm. No, because Max Caster's down here with the Gun Club, and you know what I mean? And so
if we had a European title, that would be where Max Caster's level is right now.
Right.
Compared to a Samoa Joe, who would be in the world title level. Right?
Exactly.
Those two should not meet without it being clear that Samoa Joe is decisively better. Look, I think it's a good precedence to have that in any wrestling match, somebody's got a puncher's chance or they've got a roll-up, sneakers chance, a 1, 2, 3 kids kind of chance. But if you try it and then fail, then it is over for you. Yep. Right? Hey, you went for your puncher's chance. You landed, but Samoa Joe has a head 3 times the size of yours, and it didn't work, and you lose, right? Or you missed because Hangman was too quick, and you got a buckshot lariat, and you're done.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So, so that was AEW Dynamite. We also got Rampage. We won't talk about that because, again, we don't want to spoil anything. We're not Sean.
We're recording this on a Thursday night if you're listening to this later. And if you're listening to this later, why didn't you watch live Thursday nights? Hey. YouTube and Twitch now? Live on the Twitch if you're a Twitch person.
Twitchy chitch.
Hey, we're trying to connect to you youngins, kids, right?
But I will be.
Yeet or whatever you say. Right?
Yeah. For shizzle.
Is Twitch the Yeet tube? Is there a Yeet tube? Yeah, for shizzle.
Yeah, is that still a thing?
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, we like the Miley Cyrus too.
Yeah, she's cool, right? Hey, you heard about that new act, Taylor Swift? She's fun.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of AEW Dynamite? So we were there. This was your first show. This was my third because I'm a veteran. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think, hey, look, having floor seats was great. But I think this show, I think we were talking about the MJF buzz going in. We're like, we're going to see MJF, and you're like, not a chance. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. It'd be too early for them. 1, if it's all a shoot, we're definitely not going to see him. 2, if it's a work, which we think it is, you don't want to pull a Summer of Punk thing and have him show up too early on this thing, right? So. Yeah. So, I think I felt like we discussed, there was no, we didn't see the hits here, right? For the by and large part, right? Like we didn't see your Bryan Danielson. We didn't see your CM Punk. We didn't see your Chris Jericho. We didn't see your Orange Cassidy. Kenny Omegas. There's a lot of these names that we were like, this felt like a lot more mid-card heavy show. So I'm kind of glad I was more in person for this one to get the environment and the feel and hanging out with friends, and all of that jazz. So, but I think the show was I think it was fine, but I wouldn't call this, any one of their top 10 shows or anything like that.
No, the thing that I left with is, we didn't get a lot of the hits, right? We didn't get Sting. We got Darby Allin, but we didn't get Samoa
Hook.
Joe. Well, we got Hook, but we didn't get Hook.
Hook
after Hook's the best. I literally threw a chair when he came out at the end of the show. I was like, yes! I was like, oops, sorry, guys.
You were really mad when we were watching Rampage and you thought we were getting hooked.
And then we didn't. We got fucking Will Ospreay. I didn't want to see that. I want to see Hook and Danhausen. Yeah. But what I thought about with this show is we just touched on it. Not a lot of top level talent. However, Jesus Christ, all of those people we just named were not on the show. You do that with WWE. You don't have Cody, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Usos, Riddle, Randy Orton, and you don't give a fuck about that show, right?
No, they probably do one of those shows where somebody wrestles 3 times.
Well, with this one, they said, AEW said, okay, cool. Then we're going to give you Eddie Kingston a lot. And you love it, don't you? And we go, fuck yeah. And then they say, we're going to give you FTR a lot.
Well, here's Will Ospreay out of nowhere, right? Like, so
Will Ospreay. Mm-hmm. But like, that just shows how deep they are, because like we're talking about Eddie Kingston should be a champion.
Yeah.
And we just named 10 people.
Here's the thing. We'll pull the curtain back for you too, for those folks who were not able to attend live from the floor. Tony Khan was really blowing smoke. He comes out and he loves to tell you that you're the best crowd ever. Which, listen, I want to believe, because it was Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
It was us. I'm sure we were the best, but I'm sure he says that to all the crowds.
Well, and to his credit, he did have an accurate callback. He did bring up the first show that they did, and it had the Iron Man match between Pac and Kenny Omega. So it wasn't as if he was just like, I love this. Remember Sting? He was here once. Like, it was a real thing. And so
he's like, oh man, I love it every time we come to Kansas City. Love this place. You guys have the spaghetti, the barbecue. Love it. Right?
Yeah, I thought it was good. But yeah, I just thought like this, AEW has so much talent that when you list off 11 people that were not there and you still are entertained with Eddie Kingston,
the crowd was hyped.
Allen. Yeah,
crowd was engaged all night. And I have not watched back the full show, but it was coming across well in the first couple matches when I watched back this morning. Crowd was hyped. Crowd was really hyped.
Yeah, and that's the best thing, I think, is when you go to if anyone's been to both, you'll know what I'm talking about here. But when you go to an AEW show, it feels like, well, what are we going to see? Like last night, Will Ospreay, that fucking happened, right? Like there's an energy and like a buzz and like, okay, what's going on? I don't know, man. Do you think this, or like the Battle Royale, who could win? Like, going to be anyone? Like, is it Eddie Kingston? Maybe Darby Allin. I don't know. And so there's always this buzz and there's talk and, people are telling jokes and you're getting all the stuff. When you go to WWE, it just feels like a desensitized, like, product. This is A and this is B and this is C, and look at the Capital One commercial, and this is A and this is B, and look at that Stone Cold commercial, and this is A. It's boring. It's really just fucking paint by numbers.
You know how many times at a WWE, this is why I stopped going to them after a while, because I realized, I was like, man, is this not over yet? Yeah. Like, I'm checking out. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and at Rampage, they did at AEW, they did 3 hours, and we left
4. We did Dark Elevation. We did
Dynamite and Rampage.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we were there. Yeah. We got there at 6, and we didn't leave until 11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it flew by.
Yeah.
And that's, again, without their top talent. That's the biggest compliment I can give them, is they gave us kind of a layup show, and it was still awesome. Goddamn.
No, I loved it.
So let's talk about what wasn't a layup. WWE.
Okay.
You want to transition into that fun stuff?
All right. So one of the biggest news of the pro wrestling world this week was a WWE story. So Hell in a Cell was this weekend. I did some picks last week while Tom was gone. Right? That was last week. Mm-hmm. And
I was in Long Beach. I watched.
This was one of the few matches I think that people were kind of like, okay, I want to see this, right? Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Like, they're going to do some stuff. They're going to, both of these guys want to be the best of the best of the best. They're going to make this a match. They're going to give it their all. Well, then we start hearing the news day of, like, it sounds like Cody Rhodes tears his pec lifting weights, but is going to wrestle. And so all morning I'm like, okay, what? Two, well, must not be that bad then, right? Like, if he's going to wrestle, and then, yikes, this thing looked nasty. And let's go to a tweet the table real quick. By the way, use hashtag tweet the table on Twitter. Follow us at Table Show, but use hashtag tweet the table and just tell us whatever you're thinking about wrestling, and we're going to read them right here on the show, like at Big Josh, at the Rebel Trucker, at the Rebel Trucker Big Josh, says, hashtag tweet the table. That is one nasty bruise on Cody. If that's a legit injury, I'm shocked WWE cleared him to compete. Hashtag Hell in a Cell. And, I heard a doctor's explanation was that it was Cody demanding to do it. And two, that, like, if you've ripped it off the bone, there's no more damage to be done. Like, it's a pain tolerance issue, which I'm sure you can find some doctors that will argue that. Because there's movement and stuff, right? Like, yeah.
Because then you're overcompensating for the pec with something else. And then if that is being too much pressure on it or strained, then that goes. Yeah, that felt like a dumb fucking explanation. And then also, look, Cody said, you're going to have to kill me. I'm going to wrestle this match. Oh, no, we're a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
You're not going to do this. This is a corporation. This isn't AEW where you ran the show.
We already get shit for not providing health care as a normal, like.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, look, did it add intrigue and interest and give it a natural story that made you interested throughout? 1,000,000%. Right. It was like, man, he's doing a lot of crazy, like this is, and then when Seth was going after it, you're like, wow, that's you know what I mean? Like,
so to me, yes, there was more interest, but it was car crash interest.
Yes.
Right?
1,000,000%. Yeah, the story wasn't interesting.
It was car crash interest. And honestly, I'm not like, man, Cody Rhodes is great. He really toughed it out. I'm like, man, Cody Rhodes is an idiot.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? And I am 100%, 10,000 times more now impressed with Seth Rollins for putting in a performance that's able to protect that guy, that's able to kind of, you know what I mean, and still make it look like, because it was a good match. Do not get me wrong. Match was good even. But like, man, it should not have happened. And I will continue to say that, like, just shouldn't have happened. Now, Boo Hell in a Cell would have really, really, really been ass. It already was ass, but like, woo, it would have been bad without that. So I get where they're like, hey, listen, he really wants to go. Okay. Yeah, nothing else. We got nothing else. John Cena said he can't make it tonight. So
we don't have 10 guys where we could just rotate.
We called Brock,
Eddie Kingston,
called John.
But like with AEW, if that was Eddie Kingston who tore his pec, they can rotate in and say, hey, guess what? Bryan Danielson gets a shot. And you're like, oh shit. Right. Like they don't have that in WWE. It's 3 guys and that's about it. And everyone else is like Ricochet couldn't have filled in.
Look, Drew McIntyre is he's on a plane. Can't make it in time. We're done.
Now I will say this about the match. Again, their week-to-week storytelling, WWE that is not great. Cody and Seth have been doing decent since the surprise at WrestleMania, which still hasn't been explained.
Well, Seth Rollins in the polka dots.
That's what I'm saying. But here's the thing that's great. So Seth Rollins does the polka dots. Ha, ha, ha. Look at this. Look at this. But if you notice, the theme of the match was around the sledgehammer, which is Seth Rollins and Cody's another, touch point.
And he's paying homage to Triple H with the pec tear.
You're right. Well, and that's his favorite wrestler. And then Seth, their whole history and all of that. So like they have a touch point there. So I like how they've just like, hey, we're going to get away from Dusty now. And let's get into how we are both connected to Triple H. So that was interesting. I liked how they kind of moved into that. And then when we got to Monday, again, Cody comes out and was like, I was going to do this regardless, blah, blah, blah. And then Seth Rollins takes the sledgehammer, and then puts it in his pec and does the thing again. Like, goddamn. So it was interesting. I liked it, but I don't know what the payoff could be unless it's Triple H is the guest referee. That's the only thing I could think of is but even then, like getting up, getting down, I imagine he's going to take a kick to the head and he's going to have to fall down or something. But like, if you're going to have Triple H, he's alive and he's backstage, but you're going to have him do anything because he has a pacemaker now. That's pretty scary. So yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting. Maybe he just sits in a chair, and just rings the bell, like does a Sean screwed Brett thing, and he rings the bell, and that's how he ends the match, and puts himself into this storyline. But I definitely don't want to see him physical. That would definitely suck. So yeah.
I responded to our biggest fan right now on Twitter, Cutie Marshall. He said, I don't want to be on your podcast. And I know, Cutie, I understand you're dying to be on the live YouTube stream. I get it. We'll get you booked up for that. Don't worry. I'm responding right now. Right now on the live YouTube stream. We'll get it. We'll get it soon. We'll get you booked soon. Promise. Cutie. Love you. Love you, Cutie.
Great. But he does. Okay, so while you're doing that, let's get into the next thing with the WWE, which would be
yes. Yeah, let me get back. Sorry. We love the fans, and Cutie's our biggest, so just had to respond in real time. That's what we would do for you as well.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
Nobody's much a bigger fan than Cutie though, so we gotta stop everything for Quad Track. At Big Josh or at the Rebel Trucker, Big Josh says, well, that didn't last long for Edge. Hashtag WWE Raw. And yeah, so all right, so Hell in a Cell, they've got their triple threat of darkness, right? They've got the House of Purple taking on AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and who was it? Who was it?
Damian Priest.
No, what's her?
Oh, Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan, that's right. So they're doing their thing, and Edge pins Finn Balor. The Dork Order wins, and we move on. We move on, right? Like we move on. It's fine. It's whatever. They're saying that's the right deal, right? They're a faction. This other team was thrown together. They win. But now we're on Raw, and they're like, hey, we're going to get a fourth member to the Dork Order now. We got a fourth member, and it's Finn Balor. And it's like, okay, well, I guess, can't beat him, join him, right? I'm like, all right, I'll deal with that. But that feels like a weird way to do it, right? Like just an announcement all of a sudden. He's coming out all smiles, right? Not that he's beaten down or anything. And then we get the swerve, and we're beating up Edge because Finn Balor is now leading, presumably, right? Like, just didn't feel right? Why did they want Finn Balor when he just lost to Edge? Like, I don't.
The only thing that I think, or I shouldn't say think, the only thing that I hope is that it's Damian Priest who leads it, because Damian Priest was the one who clotheslined Edge. And so I'm hoping Damian Priest says, hey, that match was so close and it didn't need to be. You're the weak link. You're out of here. By the way, the strongest guy on their team was Finn Balor, so that's why he's with us, right? Like, right. If you're doing it that way, okay. But then again, Finn Balor is a bigger star than Damian Priest, so it'd be weird that he would take a back seat to Damian Priest. So yeah, I don't, and then I hope, again, there's a lot to unpack here, but like, I hope then AJ Styles comes out and was like, hey, Finn, what the hell? And with WWE tropes, I don't want to be then like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want AJ and Edge to then be like, hey, we tried to kill each other about 15 times, but let's team up to take out them. No. So, and then again, here's one last thing I want to say though. It's like Edge was a piece of shit, right? He's the Dork Order. He's all that stuff, right? So like, because other evil people beat him up doesn't then make him de facto good guy, right? Like if Batman is feuding with the Joker, right? And let's say Penguin comes in and shoots Joker in the back of the head. and doesn't kill him, but like, does something to Joker doesn't automatically go like, hey, but I'm a good guy now. It's like, no, you're still an ass.
Tom, I'm glad we're talking about Edge right now, because we're coming up on 9 years. We're coming up on 9 years of the podcast here, and one of our longtime listeners is in the chat. Rodney Coates, otherwise known as Radar, is out here talking about the Diet Dark Order, or as we refer to them, the Dork Order, House of Purple. Are they still going to be purple? Because now Demon Balor, he's red, right? And he look up and does all that.
Well, and so here's
who are they all going to look up? They should all look up.
I hope not. But here's the other thing. It was so thrown together, it feels like, that when at the end of the night, Rhea Ripley wins the fucking number one contenders match, and the Dork Order comes out to like stare down Bianca Belair, but the music is still Edge fucking talking.
Well,
you think you know me? You never knew me at all. Yeah, they didn't know you either, apparently. So
I want to get into a conversation, and Radar says, "What's up, fellas?" And hey, man, long time no see. How's things?
Oh, we're just talking. Yeah, we just finished talking about on AEW Dynamite.
If you didn't catch, we had floor seats for AEW Dynamite. Not trying to brag or anything.
Yeah, no,
but now we're talking about the WWE stuff, but it's still a fun show. It is still a fun show. All right, so the Dork Order is out now. So I want to talk about, we're going to peel back the curtain a little bit, and all the rumors amongst the IWC are that the reason they pulled this quick switch is they were like, hey, we want this Dork Order thing, the whatever they call it, Judgment Day. We want this to be more spooky, right? More supernatural. And Edge was like, no, not going to do that, right? And they were like, all right, well, we're going to do that, so let's get Finn Balor, right? He'll do that.
He'll be
like, all right, fine, right? And so I listened to an episode of, I think it was the Wrestling Observer podcast, and they broke this down. They were like, you don't go spooky, and Edge knew that because nobody is ever successful being spooky, right? He was like, who has been top star being spooky?
Undertaker.
Well, hold on here. We're going to get to that, right? So they were like, people want to throw out the Bray Wyatt name, and they were like, he got fucking fired a year ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
So no. And he was like, the Undertaker. Everybody wants to say that. But at the height of Attitude Era, and the Undertaker was a fucking biker for the whole time, right? Like,
that's not true.
The ministry is a little bit of a thing. But even in that, WWE's claim to fame there was Rock, Austin. You know what I mean? He was like, that's the closest you're going to get to the spookiness ever working. Because prior to that, Spooky Undertaker was like Elegante, was like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I mean, you could argue he had the world title from the, that whole Royal Rumble situation. But that is like the only times you can point to spookiness working great in pro wrestling. And I want to agree with him.
Well, generally speaking, yes, spooky never works. Now, again, this is semantics and splitting hairs, but Kane and Undertaker were 1,000,000% spooky and
Rated R brought up Papa Shango. All right, we can't anger Papa Shango. So he also says himself and RVS will be at AEW Dynamite next week in STL, but not floor seats.
Yeah, but they're going to Road Rager, so
yeah, damn it.
He's
why does he always find a way to be cooler than us?
Yeah, it happens. Hey, so let's get back to the point I was trying to make here. So again, it's semantics here, but Kane and Undertaker were 1,000,000% the top heels when they were doing spooky stuff. Because yes, Rock and Austin were your top guys, but those are baby faces. Who did they feud with? They feuded with Triple H and Undertaker when they were in the ministry.
Taker, right?
Spooky Taker and Spooky Triple H. Remember, he was the dark ministry guy, all that shit. And then Kane, obviously, when he debuted, was the fucking thing. And I know he wasn't the main story, but it was a main event.
Well, that was a build off the Undertaker too, though. So I think you're playing into it. Yeah, I think the Undertaker worked.
But that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it was a few things. It was the ministry storyline, and prior to that, there was a little bit of, and a lot of that was Paul Bearer getting him over. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I mean the spookiness worked there, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because he main evented a WrestleMania and beat Sid Vicious.
But if we're saying the last time spookiness worked was 80-something and 90-something, maybe it's time to move on.
Yeah,
right.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000% agree. Yeah, and then it also worked in 2010. Remember when he possessed Teddy Long? Teddy Long got into the limo and it ended up being Undertaker as the fucking driver, so he's done that shit later too. But yes, it's only been Undertaker.
Yes.
I think though it has nothing to do with supernatural stuff. I think maybe that was hey Ed, you want to do it? And he's like, nah. And they're like, all right, cool. I think it has a 1,000,000% to do with, hey, Cody's out. Who the fuck can take over?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they got no one.
Well, but they do. That's what's fucking annoying about this company. Because I know he's old, but every fucking person they push is old. And I know AEW guys are old too. CM Punk's not a spring chicken. You know what I'm saying? But you got AJ Styles. He was already a babyface. Just
one of your longest running champions ever.
You got AJ Styles, Matt Riddle. And then that's when you got to elevate some of these fucking other people. Ali.
And Riddle's connecting. Riddle is connecting with the crowd. They're getting into him. He's
the coolest.
And I kind of like this idea now where like Randy's able to be away. And so we're able to still kind of leverage that rub he was getting. But now we're getting to see Riddle spotlighted alone.
One thing though that I wish he would get away from is the like tribute moves. Like now he does the fucking RKO.
Yes, 100%. That's what I mean. Like start kind of like, but I kind of liked he was doing the Miz thing. Rated R says Boogeyman don't count. He reminded me of a crackhead on Troost and Prospect. Boogeyman. Yeah, well, you're right. There is a lot of folks like Boogeyman down on Troost and Prospect.
I know that's a local reference. Shout out.
Yeah. Hey, Rated R knows them streets around here, man. Rated R, yeah.
Come on.
Rated R gets around the world, Tom. Like I know Rated R can rep St. Louis, but like Rated R knows where you live too, man. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
don't sleep on Rated R.
I think he's been to 41 WrestleManias.
Yes, he's been to a couple of them twice.
Yeah, for sure.
I told you he finds a way to be cooler than us almost every time we run into him. It's fun, but it's also upsetting if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You're like, God damn it, I'll never.
Well, we're kind of like the Riddle to his Randy Orton.
That's right.
So getting us back on track.
That's a good. So, yes, I like that he's doing the Miz thing, and finally we get like Riddle's like he's the lovable pothead, and he's kind of like a little dopey at times, but Miz starts to cook and throw him some shade. And he's like, hey, why don't you shut your mouth? Like, we got a little bit of that. Hey, bro, like I'm saying something. And then Maurice gets it. And I love Maurice, dude. Like for these segments, right? These little where he's like, I'm not being led around like your wife leading you around by your tiny little balls, right? And then everybody's chanting tiny balls, and she's like, "I'll have you know he has average balls." And he's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" You know what I mean? She's like, "No, I mean, he big, huge balls, right?" Like I love it. She always like hits that spot great, right? And she's like holding his balls later, right? Like protecting them, like love it. Yeah. I love it when she shows up occasionally.
Yeah, she's got her character down pat since she married Miz. When she was doing the hair flip stuff, then miss me with that stuff. But since the John Cena, Brie Bella, or Nikki Bella ship, all that shit. Yeah, she's been awesome. Do we got any more tweet tables?
We do got one more. We do got one more. Another long-term listener at Theo75 says, this women's championship match is off the rails. Hashtag Hell in a Cell. Hashtag tweet the table. And I was just disinterested, so I didn't even really pay attention to it.
So I want your opinion on this, though. So Becky Lynch loses, right? She's doing this whole like quick pin things throughout the entire match, and then she gets thrown out of the ring by Bianca Belair, and Bianca Belair does her thing with the quick pin on Asuka. Ha! She wins. She retains. So then Becky's like, what the fuck? God dang it. This sucks, right? Then on Raw, she has a match with Dana fucking Brooke. She's incorporated into a 24/7. It's Dana.
It's Dana. Oh.
Yeah, Dana.
Yeah. Dana.
She gets incorporated. Becky Lynch is
gets
incorporated in a 24/7 title storyline, loses the match, and then on social media blacks out her picture. She's from unknown. She hasn't tweeted since. I like this. This is the whole, destruction of Becky Lynch.
Well, if we could get a new Becky Lynch character, because as you said, it was the same character as Seth Rollins.
They are the same character.
They are the same character, and you're 100% right.
They're literally dressing the same, everything.
And you had offered up, Seth, it's time for you to do something different. You've been doing it longer, right? But Seth, I think, is pulling it off better. Mm-hmm. And I think can continue it as part of his personality. It feels just like he's gone crazy, right? Like he was a good wrestler. He was one of the best. And now he's kind of lost it. Something happened and Seth snapped. And this is the Seth we have now. It's his villain origin story, mm-hmm. right? So I'm fine with it. He pulls off the drip better, right? Like just all of that. So yes, if we can get something here. Oh, that's what they're going to do. Spooky Becky Lynch.
No, they're not going to do Spooky Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Spooky Becky. Spooky Lynch.
But I think they're gonna. I don't think they're doing spooky, but I think they're gonna do more. Now
back to the man.
No, I think she's gonna do more fucking crazy stuff. I think she's gonna start having a laugh.
Oh gosh!
Now,
so you think they're gonna lean harder into it, even?
Yeah, but now it would be better if she was like this. This is what she should do, in my opinion. If I'm writing this, take her off next week. She's not on TV. Have her do the dark main event. But you know what I'm saying? She's not on TV. Not on TV, not on TV. Do that for a few weeks. And then you just have someone, let's say it's Rhea Ripley, and she's cutting a promo on the women's division, and it sucks, and and you then have Becky Lynch walk out with the man shirt, the jeans, and then just like, no, we're rebuilding this from scratch. I'm kicking your ass. And then just runs through the women's division that way. Now, one thing that can we talk about? I feel bad because I don't want to body shame anyone. I'm not trying to body shame.
Sure.
But can we do a wellness check on Becky Lynch? Ever since she's come back, she is getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier to the point where it's not like I'm nervous for her.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it looks like
she is just. And again, she had a baby. I know that those things can do.
Well, here's what I want to say. I want to preface this with: I fully understand that somebody who is very skinny compared to average does not mean that they have an eating disorder, right?
No, I'm not even saying that. Yeah,
or something along those lines, right? But that is the look that those people have, and that's the territory we're venturing into here. Is what I'm saying with the look. Now, again. She could be like, fuck you, I like it. All right. You know what I mean? Like, I have no clue. I don't know her personally. So like you said, this is not intending to body shame, but I will say that like, if one of my friends were dropping weight that dramatically, that quickly, and to the point where it kept going, you would kind of be like, hey, is that on purpose?
Well, because at first I thought like, hey, it's her first child. Maybe breastfeeding is just, that does something to a woman's body as well. Right. So I thought, okay, but now, I mean, that baby's like a year old, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Rated R in the chat. He says she needs some burn-ins from Q39. See, Ronnie knows where you from, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, just right down the street.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll feed everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just say hi to me.
Please be our friend.
It's just, please be our friend. But it's just, I just notice it more and more to where it's like, I'm almost not interested anymore into the match. It almost feels like the Cody Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match where I'm watching it anticipating a car wreck, anticipating something happening to where Becky Lynch breaks a leg or whatever, you know what I mean? So
Radar wanted to follow up with this is just jokes, don't at me IWC. And I don't even know. I don't know his Twitter off the top of my head, so I'm not gonna sell him out, right? Like don't go at him. Yeah. At T-Mac instead. Before to sum up some more WWE stuff, Rated R did ask a question. He said, who you guys think will be Roman's equal right now and not The Rock, right? I think they were setting it up for Cody.
Yeah.
But and maybe they still will. If he's back for Rumble, he's going to win the Rumble. It'll be Mania. Unless they were going to do Roman at Mania.
No. That's stupid. Well, okay.
Triple threat.
Do it at Mania. No, that would be even worse.
But
do it at Mania. Yeah. You could do Rock versus Reigns at Mania. Hold on, let me get through.
Yeah.
You can do that for Mania, but it's not for the title. Cody is going to be your champion at Mania to then take on whoever the number one contender is.
No,
but
I think
Rock
I figured it out.
versus Roman. Hold on. Brock versus Roman is going to be who controls the bloodline.
I don't even think you do that. You do Roman versus Cody. Well, no, because Roman would have to win this. Then Roman beats Cody, and then it's well, Jesus Christ, who's left? And then The Rock shows up to end the cliffhanger. I'll see you tomorrow night on Raw or whatever it is. And then,
No, what is going to happen? This is what's going to happen is Cody heals up, and then Roman's still your double champ. Cody says, hey, I'm no longer, or like, I'm a dream. I'm an American dream to some, but I'm your nightmare. And he plays up the American thing. Woo, America, right? He beats him, right? Then Roman Reigns has like this like crisis of conscience, and he's like, what the fuck happened? Like, what's going on? Like, and then the Usos are like, hey man, are you the man? Like, I thought you were the man.
I thought you were the man.
And you let that guy with a bad neck tattoo beat you?
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck you say? And then he starts like getting crazy, right? And then
God, they had that fucking Ed Hardy tattoo on the side of his fucking neck.
Yeah. And then you almost recreate what Roman did at the start with the Jey Uso, where he's like, all right, then everyone's fucking kneeling to me. Like, I'm making my entire family kneel to
flexing
me.
his authority.
Yeah. And then like, but it's to everyone. Like, it's Tamina. Fucking come here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna beat Liv Morgan.
Yeah, the Solo Sikoa or whatever they're calling that guy down there in NXT.
Yeah, the other guy, right? Yeah. But like, you get anyone that's in that world. Rikishi shows up one week and is like, "Hey, man, you're gonna be in your son's corners, or else things are gonna happen." And then everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And then that's when The Rock comes out and was like, "You motherfucker!
You think you actually control this family? Like,
right?
You know who I am?"
And then at Mania, because you need more than one match. Mania is going to be Bloodline, who controls Rock, Roman, and then the championship match, which won't be the main event, will be Cody versus Drew McIntyre, America versus Scotland. And there you fucking go. Jesus Christ, that's what's going to be. They're going to, God damn it, he's going to recreate the Anthony Ogogo thing with Drew McIntyre talking about, in America, you can now have a mixed baby. And he's gonna solve racism again.
He's gonna solve racism again. Or it's the like Brock comes to try to take it from him, and he finds a way to overcome that or something. Like, it'll be one of those big matches they try to sell on all the like fucking Tonight shows and all that shit.
I think, honest to God, I think what they're gonna do when Cody becomes champion is the Hulk Hogan All-American. I think it's gonna be America.
So maybe we get John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, where he's like, you think? Let's get John Cena there to be like, you think you're taking?
John Cena will wrestle at WrestleMania, but he's gonna wrestle Austin Theory. That's who he's wrestling.
Yeah, good call. Tom just booked Mania. Look at that. Tom,
just give me just someone hire me. Please, I'm unemployed.
Tom needs that dough. You know what I'm saying?
I need money. I need the monies.
He needs the monies. This has been great, Tom. I've enjoyed tonight thoroughly. I enjoyed last night thoroughly when we were at AEW Dynamite with floor seats. Had a blast. Eddie Kingston entertained us. Hangman entertained us. Go right there. We had a blast. We had a blast here tonight with all the folks in the chat, the Katie First Lady, Rated R, all the Tweet the Tables, your Big Joshes, your Theos, Katie's. If I missed anybody, hit us up next week, hashtag Tweet the Table. We're just going to go watch some more wrestling until we're ready for that, right?
Wait, one last thing. Remember, Rampage and Dynamites, we do live tweet during those shows. So join the conversation at Table Show. And then you can also use hashtag Tweet Table as well. So remember that.
The Spanish announce table.
That's some good stuff.
I'm unemployed.
Yeah. Which is great because maybe It's real.
Dang it. I wish this Cutie Marshall thing was taken off more than what it is. It's still fun.
I really wish I knew like what his thought process was. If he's like, these guys are fucking around, I'm gonna fuck around back with them, or if he's like, these guys are fucking dumbass. You know what I mean? It's even better if he really is like, what the fuck is wrong with these idiots?
Yeah. We should like see you in St. Louis. We'll see you there, and then he might have a fucking restraining order on us.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we are his last two tweets. Because he quote tweeted us. It wasn't as if it was.
Well, that's why I think he's like leaning. I think he's like playing along, right? That's why I get it. Because like if he really didn't, he would have just blocked us or ignored us, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Pieces of shit. So, because we're also doing the like, you're the best, pal.
Well, I think he's the guy who's like, anybody engaging with him is better for him because nobody engages with fucking Cutie Marshall, right? Like everybody loves fucking Hangman, who probably ignores his Twitter because he can't see them all. But Cutie Marshall's like, somebody mentioned me? Let me fucking see what that is, right? Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Cool, man. Well, I'll keep you updated on anything, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll get all this shit posted.